So for about 3 years straight, I tried every business idea under the sun. I tried drop shipping, I tried affiliate marketing, I tried an SMMA, I tried to start a clothing brand, and every single one failed miserably. And I remember getting to a point where I was starting to think, is it me? Like, am I just not cut out for this? But then in 2023, I tried something different. I tried a business idea that nobody really talks about. And as soon as I started with this business model, everything just clicked. In the first 6 months, I built an audience of 250,000 people. And I remember I started to make a couple of $100s a month, and I was making a couple of $1,000s a month, and then it was 10,000 a month. It was absolutely insane, because to me, that's like life-changing money. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how I did that and break the whole thing down from a beginner's perspective and show you how you can build a one-person business like I did completely from scratch. So back in April 2023, I made an Instagram account called Wave Index. And originally this was just for fun, and I was just going to post graphic designs that I'd made and album covers that I was working on. And I actually have a Google Doc here that I found that I made when I created the account. So I made this in April 2023. And you can see my goals were to get to $500 a month. And I was thinking maybe I could get a couple of clients by the end of the year. And I also wanted to get to 500 followers. So remember that number. I wanted to get to 500 followers by the end of that year. And then around the same time, I started posting content. So I started putting out, Instagram Reels and TikToks and just very kind of simple, basic videos about Photoshop and how to create certain effects in Photoshop and things like that. And I also started putting out some longer YouTube videos as well. And just 6 months later, my Instagram account looked like this. So somehow I got to 200,000 followers on Instagram in 6 months. And then there was another 50,000 on TikTok, which is just absolutely insane. And I remember the moment where it all started to kick off. So I remember going to bed and I had maybe 1,000 followers or something like that. And I woke up the next day and like bleary-eyed, like checked my phone, opened Instagram, and it was on 12,000. So in the space of one night's sleep, in the space of like 8 hours, it had gone from 1,000 and kind of growing quite slowly to 12,000. And I genuinely must have almost fallen out the bed. That was like, I cannot even put into words how unexpected that was. And I know it sounds a little bit ridiculous, but that experience completely changed my life overnight. And not because of the followers or not because I was making any money at that point, but because it kind of transformed my perspective on what I could do. And it kind of gave me a little bit more self-belief because, like I said, I'd had this huge period of time where I was starting to have a lot of self-doubt because none of the businesses that I was trying were working, and I was just failing over and over again. And then eventually I start something and it actually works. Like everything just starts to click. But at this point I had a big audience, so I had loads of followers, but I wasn't making any money yet because there is a huge gap between having an audience and actually, monetizing the audience and starting to make some money. So I went through this period where I was trying loads of different things and trying to learn about how to monetize an audience and digital products and things like that. And eventually I launched my first digital educational product. So this is the digital product right here. And it's essentially an online course where I would teach complete beginners how to use Photoshop and how to create, poster designs and get good at graphic design and things like that. And I remember the first month I released it, I think I made a couple of $1,000s or something like that. Not too much, but at that point I was over the moon with that. Like I was finally making some money. I was finally making like a couple of $1,000s a month from an online business. So that was a big step up. So I was buzzing. Like I was so excited about that. And then about 6 months later, after a ton of research again and a ton of experimentation and learning about, sales funnels and copywriting and all this kind of more advanced stuff. After about 6 months, I finally got it to a point where it was making over $10,000 a month. And I know that you probably see, other YouTubers and, like online gurus talk about how they're making 100 grand a month or $1 million a month, something like that. Or that's how much they say they're making. But for me to get to this kind of money with a niche that's not profitable in any way, it's nothing to do with business or finance or making money online or anything like that. It's a pretty unprofitable, like artsy niche, like poster design in Photoshop. So if I can get to this kind of money with that niche, imagine what you could do using this business model if it's like a highly profitable niche. And then on top of the digital products, I started getting sponsorships as well. So I started working with, big companies like Adobe, for example. And I can't say exactly how much those sponsorships were, but there were some months where, like, from the sponsorships I was getting, it was like doubling what I was already making. It was It was insane. And then if we fast forward to today, this whole experience has like completely transformed my life. I know that's like cliche to say, but yeah, it's had such a huge impact on my life. I've moved out here to Thailand. I've just flown in from the Philippines. Like I have so much freedom in my day-to-day life, get to work very, very few hours, to be honest. And yeah, I'm just so blessed to be able to do what I do now. Okay, so I'm gonna stop rambling about myself and tell you a little bit more about the business model and how you can build something like this as well. So this one-person business model, we can break it down into 3 main phases. So the first one is we're gonna learn a skill, or we're gonna leverage a skill or a hobby or a passion that you already have. And the second thing we're gonna do is build an audience. So we're gonna do this by putting out content, whether it's on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. We're gonna create content where we teach people the skill that we've chosen. And then of course, the third phase is to create a digital educational product and sell it to that audience. And there are literally a million examples of other creators who are using this exact business model. For example, Ali Abdaal is a YouTuber. Maybe you've seen a couple of his videos before. I really like this guy. And he creates videos about productivity, how to start a YouTube channel and entrepreneurship and things like that. And he's built a big audience. I think he has like millions of subscribers, but then he also has digital products. He has online courses where he teaches his audience how to get better at YouTube, how to become more productive and things like that. So you can see he's using that exact business model. So he has a skill, he's built an audience around that skill, and then he's selling the audience a product related to that skill. But you might be thinking, oh, but he has millions of views, he has like millions of subscribers, I'm never gonna get to that level. Well, you don't need to get to that level, because let me give you another example. So this is William Brown. And you might not have heard of this guy before. I really like this guy's videos as well. And he creates videos about business and entrepreneurship. And his channel is amazing, but he only gets about 5,000 views in every video that he puts out. But he is making $300,000 a month from this business. And again, he uses the same model. He has a skill, which is business and entrepreneurship. He creates videos about the skill that he has, and then he sells a product to his audience. But then you might be having another limiting belief. You might be thinking, oh, but I don't know anything about business. I don't know anything about entrepreneurship or finance or anything like that. Well, like I said, you don't need to pick a niche that has anything to do with business or finance or entrepreneurship. Like I did this with graphic design and designing posters in Photoshop. But I'll give you another non-business related example of this. So this is Gotham Chess. And obviously he makes videos about chess, how to get better at chess. And he has a skill. So he's very, very good at chess. And he makes videos teaching people how to get better at chess, kind of more of a beginner's look on chess and different openings and things like that. And then he also has educational products about chess. So he sells, relatively inexpensive courses about specific openings in chess and things like that. So again, he's using this exact same business model. And now that you understand this business model, you are gonna see this everywhere, especially on YouTube. And the reason why it's so popular and the reason why so many people are doing it is because it's so effective. And also because it's so beginner friendly. Like you don't really need to know that much about business. You don't really need to be like a genius entrepreneur to figure this out. I mean, I figured this out, and clearly I'm not a natural when it comes to entrepreneurship. Like I failed over and over again for so many years. But if I can figure this out with a niche that's like relatively unprofitable, then you can do this as well. And the last thing I want to say in this video is, if you're in a similar situation to where I was a few years ago, where you're trying different business models, maybe you've tried drop shipping, maybe you've tried shipping shitty products from Alibaba, maybe you've tried SMMA or something like that, and nothing's really working, I would highly recommend giving this business model a go, because not only is it really intuitive, and like I said, this is the business model that just made everything click for me, but it's also extremely rewarding. Like it's extremely like psychologically fulfilling to talk about something you're interested in and create videos about something that you're genuinely passionate about or something that you're actually good at. Like that is so much more rewarding than pretty much any business model that I can think of. And it worked for me, and I'm genuinely a dumbass. So I guarantee it can work for you as well. So that's it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. It's been a pleasure, and I'll see you in the next one.